that's, having experts weigh in gives you the best chance to make an informed decision.
Great.
I'm wondering what the best way to have a conversation with DOT is as we move forward. Is it to talk to Kenny or how, or continue to have an engineer we try to sound out for something we may or may not ever apply for?
Well, the North Country hub for the Department of Transportation is in Lancaster, and that's where the regional folks reside and work out of. And I'm supposed to meet with one of them. We're trying to schedule a meeting now, and it may be Thursday, or it may be Wednesday afternoon. I've given Pat a couple of different times. And I'm meeting with him regarding the curbing along Route 16. That road's going to be paved next year. The curbing all needs to be dug up. The sidewalk needs to be raised, and then the curbing needs to be put back. It's a big project, because if you go, the curb's basically at road surface level now. And so when I do meet with him, hopefully at some point this week, I'm happy to ask him, would somebody out of the Lancaster office be the one to include in this conversation, or what do you recommend?
Yeah, that'd be great if you could. Because the folks I talked to were from the Lancaster office.
Yeah.
But I don't know if...
Probably where it makes sense. Yeah, I'm happy to ask him.
It's also true that you're also looking at least from the bridge over to the corner on Valley Cross, you're looking at something as part of the bridge construction for that piece of the road frontage, if you will. But you're suggesting that they're also going to be looking at the whole of going up the hill as well? As part of the paving or repaving of that area? So we have the bridge work and repaving?
No, I'm talking to somebody about Route 16 paving.
Route 16,
representative, Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
And so I can ask him when I see him later this week if he would be the right one to kind of bring into a conversation, and when would it be best to do that.
Okay.
He's probably going to say is after you get your reports, but I'll run it by him and I'll let you know, Tom.
Sure.
Yeah.
Alright. So that idea wraps up a bunch of the different specific recommendations. The drop-off zone, parallel parking. To a certain degree, the marking surfaces and the parking areas is kind of in that, I would say, as well. They're all in the DOT right-of-way, the big and the little lots. And the chief did, the way I comment that yes, angled parking would be the most safe way to back into a state highway. No one seems to know how to mark their parking lot, and that gets into the bigger conversation about doing, what are all the implications if...
Are there other alternate surfaces that are not pavement that could be marked? Right now, to the safety concern, I'm sorry, I live across the street, and I come by that area quite frequently, both walking and driving. And I appreciate that these do monitor a couple of times a day, more sometimes when it's really busy. But we have very large rigs being parked into the street, and you cannot pass in the travel lane without going over the yellow stripe in order to get up the road. And that is a regular occurrence, simply because the trucks are larger than spaces available that pull in parking. And also people have bicycle racks that extend 3 feet out. They're there. I find it very difficult to get into my driveway sometimes because there are 10 people standing in the middle of the road, walking up the middle of the street. It's like we're a backwater and it's not a through street. And so some of the comments here that are associated with safety are safety issues, and they should not be ignored. And I would recommend to the selectmen that they take a really hard look at what they're saying and thinking about that, because someone is going to get hurt. And it's not because people aren't trying to do their best, but they're doing best with the facility that we're offering them. And the facility we're offering them doesn't fit the big rigs that they pull in. Some of the parking area has shorter length, should only be for smaller cars, compact cars. And then there's a big Dodge Ram truck that's sitting out there with 2 feet of trailer hitch sitting out on it. And you may not see that if you're not looking properly. You might clip your side of your car, just simply trying to be in the travel lane. It's extending well into the travel lane. It's a parking space that's available, that's what they think.
I think it's all legitimate and maybe would be worth bringing to a selectmen's meeting directly.
Yeah.
Or if you could capture photos of it in action too, maybe that would help.
Yeah. Also having 64 cars up there on a particular day is tough.
Or even if you're just a pedestrian that's trying to walk, you can't because the cars are all parked on the
Well, you
street.
can't, you can't, there's no pedestrian space there available.
Yeah, so the question there would be, A, where does conservation end and where does safety begin in terms of oversight of a piece of town property and what you would like us to do and what the correct mechanism to take potential observations of unsafe situations and bring them to the town, like how, should that move outside of this board and come through a different
Or if you'll just come to directly,
If we ever had concerns around something on a state highway, we would take them to the State Department of Transportation. Just that simple.
May I ask a question? I mean, has it been thought of to have people back in? I realize a lot of people don't back well. I mean, I also walk, bike, and drive by there fairly often. Biking is to me a risky event. I've been almost hit a number of times because people just can't see or don't want to look. Bill, you may well have encountered that too. I've now given up. I walk through there. And I've just often thought that people would have better visibility if they would back in, and also we would have less likelihood of having that trailer hitch, which I've had that situation more than once this summer, or bike racks that are extending into the road. I'm just asking, has that been thought of or looked at, or is that even a consideration?
Well, I guess I personally feel that we all are marginally expert on different levels of conservation, and I feel like we're even less qualified to get into angled parking, although we do have planning experience here. And I don't know the correct way to take those things forward, because the state, I don't think, wants you backing it off of the highway. I think there's all kinds of answers that we don't know about how you are supposed to leave in and re-enter a state highway. And I presume the ultimate answer to a parking issue question there, in addition to DOT, would involve, we would have to hire an engineer to come up with a solution for that area, and then bring that to DOT. So the question there would be, how do you get to by the time we're at trailer hitches in the roadway, I feel like we need buy-in from the police chief that there are trailer hitches in the roadway. We need to present evidence. We need to be taking pictures of the. I don't even know the right steps. I had a dad who was a planner who would go out and be the one sitting by the edge of a road and counting cars and doing all this stuff, to create a report. So I don't know if those safety concerns, how to bring those forward if the town wants them to come forward in the right avenue for that. I guess we could say we, as a board, feel like there are sometimes situations maybe do not lead directly to accidents, but seem unsafe and ask for, I don't know what the next step would be, but.
But it's probably not necessarily our purview to hire an engineer like we would a hydrologist or a soil scientist.
which
Yes.
we were that's not us.
Right.
At least I don't perceive it as us.
We would welcome any safety concerns that anybody had to be, brought forward to the Department of Transportation or whoever. I mean, if there are safety concerns, your neighbors need to know about it. Everybody should be aware that there are safety concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just ask one question regarding the feedback that we got? What was the Green Hill Road situation in the recommendation that we made about the speed limit, keeping the 30-mile speed limit all the way to Valley Cross Road? Currently, the speed limit increases to 35 just before the parking area. What were the Green Hill Road issues that the road agent referred to? Does anyone, or I don't know if you know about?
You mean when there was discussion in the town about lowering the speed limit on Green Hill Road?
I don't even know if, if that's what it was.
Oh, that came to us at one
Okay.
point, number one, when the police were up there, they didn't notice people driving above the posted speed limit. And number two, the posted speed limit, although it's not marked on that road, because of the class of the road and all of the things about that road, the speed limit's 35. And so if you wanted to make a case for, you can't just arbitrarily lower a speed limit because you feel like doing that would make it safe.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, especially if you can't cite safety concerns and be clear about that. So the engineering study to get approval to take a road that is automatically posted at 35 and reduce that, you've got to monitor the road at your expense, and that's where those little hoses, come into play, and they're out there for quite a period of time, and then you take the data it collects and you determine what the speed limit is at, and if it's violating anything, and if it needs to be adjusted.
Okay.
So that would be, that's a rough outline. I mean, we've never done a road study in town for the purpose of potentially lowering the speed limit, but that's my understanding of the basic parts involved in doing something like that.
Okay, thanks.
So I'm essentially hearing for the parking, to a certain degree, the engineering of the parking lot and potential speed limit things, we will kind of drop and bring to the select board directly as individuals, rather than pursuing them through this board.
Yeah, I mean, unless out of our evaluations by Greg Howard and whatever hydrologist we hire, they made specific parking recommendations, then I think it would fall back in our court. Otherwise, I feel like safety is beyond us, seems like.
Do you have something, Mike?
Yeah. So we're looking at the parallel parking drop-off zone.
Yeah, we've basically
Yeah.
discussed 1, 2, 4, and 7.
Gotcha. Okay.
All the parking related.
Number 6, the signs, the Jackson Steve touring. I've emailed Pat about his supplier of signs and started to ask questions about could we add signs under the no parking ones on Valley Cross Road that basically are some version of a parking sign and arrow pointing that way, which we could buy the signs and potentially add them under the no parking ones, like we discussed last meeting. So I think a question I would have on that is, what do we want them to say? And then would we want to buy a second one to go at ski touring to then ask ski touring if that was the appropriate sign to post there and what language they want specifically?
Mhm.
I think you have to put a lot of signs up, unfortunately, because people are parking in the fire pond parking area, even though it says no parking on this side, no parking on this side, but there are just a lot of cars in there this summer, so people must have been telling them, you can go past that, there's another little parking lot, so they think that's it.
I thought isn't the fire pond sign is no parking?
It is.
The way it's signed on the left-hand side of the parking area, and it's right by the fire hydrant. And if you don't know any better, you assume that no parking next to the fire hydrant, but everywhere else is okay there.
Yeah, you just pull right in. There's no
At the
parking.
selectmen's meeting, which I attended, they said, I believe it was the road agent, said that he had recently changed the signage is to be a no parking area, not just at the fire hydrant. So,
Okay, I have seen.
so hopefully that'll be better. So what would we want on a sign to point to the overflow? Just something that says overflow parking,
Additional
Additional
Additional parking.
in an arrow. All right.
I mean, I get that there's a comment here about too many signs, and I get that, like, there are a lot of signs up there, but I think that if we've got this parking lot that ski touring says we can use, and it's there and available, it makes sense to direct people to it. And maybe that's even more of like a grassroots thing of like talking to hotels and making sure it's on, maybe it already is on maps, I can't remember. So, yeah, so like letting people know that way, because I think that would help eliminate parking problem.
Would it be helpful on that note to put the mileage? Because if people turn right there and the first one they come to is the fire pond and they're just like, oh, this must, yeah.
Because they're parking on the
If
tennis
they're
courts.
like, oh, this must be it, and they stop, then they never actually get far enough to see the ski touring lot,
Additional parking quarter mile. It's less than a quarter mile.
whatever it is, or like 800 yards, I don't know, whatever.
And maybe something at the pond that says, not here,
Yeah,
keep going, almost there.
Yeah.
And then for a sign at ski touring, something along the lines of falls, overflow parking,
Yeah.
non-winter only. I don't know what ski touring would want specifically on that. Of course.
I mean, no one really parks at the falls in the winter anyway. So I don't think it would be a problem, but yeah, overflow parking for Jackson Falls.
That's a whole, that parking lot, which is a whole other topic.
Yeah.
The new parking lot they just put in there on
Yeah.
Cross. I whenever I go ski there, I like pull in and I'm like, oh man, there are cars on either side of the road. Down. Crazy.
All right.
I mean, and they could take the overflow sign, we could take it down in the winter time too. Just have it be seasonal.
Great. And that kind of ties into one of the, if I remember the soil monitoring report correctly, one of the items which we've gone back and forth on was a basically kiosk. That would be both for how to use the falls appropriately, which is the conservation issue, somewhat the trash issue, potentially a cultural history part, but then the other part would be using that for getting to the parking areas and having a broader map, maybe getting people to park out here at that lot, which is underused, and which gets to the drop-off thing. But in general, I felt like the board has not supported the idea of a kiosk because of the kind of the argument back and forth about do we want the kiosk and the looks there and all that. So that's, I think, an outstanding item from that report. But it definitely was like, put up some signs. We put up those little signs to try to be not in people's faces and not have too many signs. I think complaining that there are so many signs everywhere.
I think a kiosk is good and important. I mean, kiosks belong in front country parks, and the falls is certainly a front country park. And that's what people kind of expect when they go to a city park or a town park.
I see so many people pausing at the snow roller sign. There are always people reading those signs down there. I think they would read anything if you put it up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, it's not too
And you can
invasive.
make really attractive kiosks.
All right, so maybe as a side note, it should be a longer winter project.
Also, though, I was gonna add, I can't remember at this point, when I renovated the description of the falls for the Chamber of Commerce brochure. You guys remember that? It was probably like a year or two ago. I can't remember if we put anything in it about parking, but if we came up with a comprehensive list of this lot and the Valley Cross
Parking available
lot.
for these.
Yeah, if
The
we
only parking is on Valley Cross.
have behind the Wentworth Hotel. But if we had a comprehensive list, I could get back in touch with them and add those into that, to those instructions. I don't actually know how many people visiting the falls, that's their starting point, if they actually are reading that brochure, but it's worth a shot just to, because that's super easy to add that in and just say A, B, C, and D are the overflow lots for the falls if you need it.
Great, you want to do that?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Which eventually gets back to the DOT with the idea of if people are parking in more satellite lots, I feel like the drop-off zone becomes more and more important, and how do we carve that out of all of those spots are in DOT right away. That's for encouraging people to hopefully walk there safely on Valley Cross Road or up the falls on the sidewalk. But I think at that point, a drop-off zone could, if we take one or two spots out of the big 18-car spot lot where the parallel parking becomes, again, another thing that we would need DOT and would want buy-in before we went to DOT.
But doesn't the drop-off just encourage more people to use the falls? I mean, at one time, and...
Well, I guess that's the ultimate question, is we
Because
don't,
we were talking drop-off before, I think, when we were trying to eliminate spaces for those parallel parking, but it seems like that's not something that's going to necessarily happen.
So if we didn't
Unless we did the
eliminate
road
spots,
share, yeah.
then there would be no
Just more
drop-off
people,
zone, yeah.
and that would be, I guess, a question which we want answered from the experts we're consulting,
Yeah.
is basically a carrying capacity of the falls, and if we're hitting it at any point in time. Because only if we're hitting a carrying capacity do I see the need to truly limit number of visitors at any given point in time. You know, I don't know if, I guess it's an aesthetic question, whether you want like the falls packed with like everybody just standing there like little penguins. But I would hazard offhand, you know, that the falls is not at carrying capacity as far as people getting from the road on the marked paths to the.
I was gonna say, provided people are on the marked paths and then do, durable surfaces like the rock, the bedrock,
Well, I think that's a really pointed question to ask them, to ask the hydrologist and ask Greg Howard, what is there a carrying capacity? Do you feel that it's been met, et cetera, et cetera?
Because that would certainly contribute to kind of, compaction, erosion, all that sort of thing.
Yes,
As long as they're on the things we want compacted.
yeah.
Which are, I guess, sorry.
No. Well, I was gonna go back to the parking lot, if you guys could just real quick, if we could make a list.
Oh, the overflow lots.
Yeah,
So it would be down across the road.
yeah,
The other, as far as I know, public lots available down here are by the old town office.
across from the post office.
Across,
The Historical Society.
yeah,
Okay,
specifically the uphill side, I would say,
okay,
not the downhill side. And then this lot here, the public parking, behind the library.
does that place have a name, that lot? Just
Old tennis court, right?
like below the library?
I just refer to it as the library parking lot.
Okay.
The mystery house and trail parking area? Is that what you're referring to?
Advertise it, say.
I know. Get some people on that loop.
Okay, so those three are the big ones.
So Margo, what have you got? Valley Cross?
Valley Cross
Town
Road,
office?
the uphill side of the Historical Society parking lot,
Oh,
and the
uphill
library parking
side.
lot.
Okay, so not Lower Falls parking near the snow roller.
That we've always not publicly encouraged, my understanding, we as a town do not encourage people to park there for public access to the falls because it is owned by the Wentworth, even though we have the right of access across the Wentworth's land
Okay.
to Lower Falls.
All right, just asking.
Which I guess on the same note, I've noticed the public way sign has disappeared and I don't know whom we would contact, if that's a Wentworth sign or a town sign. It
There used to be a finger pointing,
Mhm.
On the side.
someone took it down.
Yeah, it used to be signed from the snow roller to Lower Falls as a public access point, which it could be a way to distribute people.
Maybe they took it down on a Saturday when there was a ceremony.
When
Trying to get people here.
I would imagine, because you have to walk through the wedding zone to get to the Lower Falls. And that seems like
Well, they took, there's no more bridge to, no more like,
The little footbridge?
yeah, yeah, the hop.
Interesting.
And we
That
could-
blew out. I haven't been out there in a long time.
Yeah, that's
I was out there just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that's something we could revisit as well, as we had up until 2 years ago maintained that very informally, and that we would go out and brush that path, but not put any time or effort into rebuilding bridges to get to the old bathing area at Lower Falls. And that is a public zone where people can go, but it's moderately encouraged and moderately maintained for the adventure zone.
Well, and then who would we talk to at the Wentworth about, because like if they legitimately are like, no, you can't have people go there at 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon in July because of the wedding, then that's a conflict.
Yeah, I imagine that would be a kind of give and take conversation about, hey, we have the public right to be here, we recognize maybe you don't want us during weddings, how do we manage the situation?
Yeah.
You know, if the weddings are always at the peak usage of, who knows, but so far there's been no conflict besides the sign disappearing. And I'm sure only the three of us noticed that the sign disappeared.
Okay.
I don't know, we could, I guess, I know Irina, we could ask her, but I don't know who we would actually speak to about that sort of thing.
I'll ask her, because I mean, I think she's the one that meets with potential bride and grooms, so I'll ask her if she knows.
So that is most of the items on our list. I'm gonna put the boulders in the, we're gonna listen to the expert zone where we get our recommendations from the soil scientists. If and we decide to not have parking there, how we would then go about that. And that would be the big conversation with the state and the road agent
That goes in with parking, I think.
and everything else. And that leaves the corner lot with the idea of establishing that for residents only. And how we, or if we want to proceed with that. And I'm not sure how we want to go with it. I guess I've always thought we were split as a board on that. We kind of voted on it as a package with all the other items.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that vote, but I did express to Tom that I think I would vote, if I would vote probably against the idea of town residents only. I just don't think it's what I think would be best for the falls, and so. And I guess, yeah, I can't remember if I stated that just to you, or if I stated that when I haven't been here forever.
You stayed.
I did, okay, good. Yeah, so I think if we're discussing it, I'd say that I am not for that particular item.
And if we need to get rid of the corner lot, in and out of all this stuff, that's a whole different conversation, I guess, from the idea of whom it is that is parking there and all of the, how to regulate.
Well, again, this has been brought up numerous times, and it's been a point of contention, I guess, in terms of the green basis where everyone says, yeah, we think yea or nay. And the question is whether or not it belongs in the Conservation Commission's bailiwick. It has nothing to do with conservation.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with whether or not there's good access by town residents to resource when virtually no one from town can get there during 8 weeks of the year, unless they come early. The people who are there are not from town. They do not use town facilities. They do not use town businesses. They are there to have an alternative to Diana's Baths that's been shut down to a large degree. And it's a free opportunity for a nice place to stay. And, midweek, we can all get there, no problem. During the Saturday, Sunday, holiday, July, August, and also many days during the week when it's a very hot day during July and August. Basically, town residents are not able to visit that spot unless they show up early. Again, it's not a Conservation Commission thing, particularly. It has nothing to do with conservation. It has everything to do with whether or not, again, to the point I was trying to make earlier, it says the Conservation Commission acting as a recreation monitors for town residents and using town facilities for either Prospect Park or for Jackson Falls. Are we responsible for that? And if we are, then making a recommendation of some kind so that town residents can use town property that is a valuable resource, or we're just going to say, thank you, pay your taxes, and you don't get to use it. And, if that's something that doesn't belong to us, it belongs to the select people, more power to the select people, then I think people should go and petition you rather than us about that discussion and that topic.
Yes, which I think I would agree with that last bit, that essentially, if that's something folks want, it should go straight to the select board at this point, and then we could be...
As opposed to coming to us and us trying to be a filter to try to recommend something.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. I'm sort of with Mike that I'm not wild about residents only parking, but I've felt like if that was part of the compromise of people in town eliminating parking on Carter Notch Road, that somehow there were separate lots, then I would go along with it. But it does, I do think that it's, I don't know, you could probably speak to this more, but if it was outside it's outside of our jurisdiction, I guess, then it should just go to the select board. Because unless it directly is impacting conservation, then is it really us?
Only to the extent that it might reduce the number of congested cars, and that would be the only,
But I,
only way you
yeah, and I
can
think
justify
that's
that.
more the elimination of parking
Right.
than,
Yes, yes.
than the residents only is separate.
Yeah, it would be a separate,
Reduction in
it would be something you're hiding behind,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So that's my 2 cents.
Alright, so it sounds like we'll drop that, if that's alright. And we would encourage those who feel strongly about the issue to go to the select board, and go from there. And use
I mean, I get why people have brought it to our meetings, because it is supposed to be our property that we manage. But
And the thing is, when they came to us, they'd already been to the select board. So I think, I don't know if they were directed here by the select board.
No.
No? Okay.
What have you guys done to us?
we're just trying to get us
Direct
out.
somebody to you that brought to us an idea like that. We took in the idea and we said, if this is something you want to pursue, here are the concerns. How would it work? How would you determine who was a resident and who wasn't? How are you going to issue stickers? Are you going to charge for the stickers? How are you going to enforce this? Are you just going to be coming up with ideas that end up putting headaches into the police department's lap and the town office's lap? What are your ideas specifically for how this would work and look? And have you thought about all of these different aspects to it? And if you have, then please bring it to us next meeting in a form of a document that we can look at. And we have something concrete rather than a citizen's comment made verbally during the citizen's comment period. We want something really concrete that we can look at and digest. And that person never came back. That person chose to come to your meetings and make it an issue instead.
Alright.
Great.
Perhaps as part of the public business, then we can do a redirect.
And I think you can end up watching the video of that exchange. I think it was the July 22nd or 23rd video, 2017 of our selectmen's meeting, where we said, here's what we'd like to see. And so if you're serious about having us pursue that, please come back.
Okay.
That was some impressive recall that you got the meeting there. That's impressive. Okay, yeah, maybe look it up before we came. Okay, all right. I'd like to think just pull it up.
Great, I think that's what we've got for the falls. And definitely, Bob, as we go forward with getting those recommendations from everyone, just, I don't know best how to keep it in the back of everyone's heads, what actions the town would actually want to take if these reports come back, seeming like they're going in a given direction, which is, needing to not have parking on a particular hillside and prepping ourselves for going to DOT if that is a thing. And if not, then, fine too.
Yeah,
Because we don't want to spend too much money and go down roads that
it's going nowhere.
is going.
It's a dead end.
Things change, sometimes it's hard.
Well, again, I don't speak for the board as a whole, but I kind of feel like Mike and the way he started off the meeting is that, I want to apologize. I should be around this meeting more. I'm your liaison. Certainly, anytime you feel like there are things on the agenda that you think it is advantageous for a selectman to be at the meeting and participate in dialogue or be here as a resource for you or whatever, please contact me and let me know, because I'll make every effort to be here.
Can I just clarify for the minutes that, Bob, you had would ask any resident that's concerned about resident-only parking to get on the agenda at one of your meetings and bring like a concrete written proposal with all of the suggestions for
Yeah.
ideas of enforcement.
That was the way it was put.
Okay, thank you.
That would be good.
All right. Anything else for Jackson Falls?
I don't know if I said this or not, but I think I want to put in the minutes that I'd like to thank the chief of police and our road agent for taking the time to like give us feedback on this. Like that was nice of them. Definitely helps guide us and lets us know. Like I certainly don't know any of the laws pertaining to state roads in New Hampshire, so it's nice that they took the time to write. So I just want to put in the minutes. Thank you for the time.
Yes.
Thanks. I feel like I should turn the camera and say that. But I'm not going to do that.
All right, I don't have anything for Grace Inn.
Poor Grace Inn. Always.
It's
Just
a
watch
beautiful,
it not
beautiful.
be up there.
It's true. Go on, I'll be up there. Go see the history basement out there. Conservation easements. I'm doing the annual monitoring. And reminded me the last 2 years we've been sending out letters, which I totally forgot about. Which we
Is it
could.
necessary?
I just saw stuff as well.
Difficulty with the one,
We thought it was just a nice thing to do since
to give them a heads
to
up.
give them a heads up, and there was the one property where the owner's not always there, and sometimes it was a caretaker or a relative, and they didn't understand why we were there, right? Am I?
It was, yeah.
Have you
gosh.
encouraged that? Have you found that problem in the last couple of years? Have you been monitoring that property?
For which property? I'm only in the farm, yeah.
Yes, Peaceful Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, a year or two before that, the folks had not been in town for a period of time. We had a hard time getting in touch with them, just to check in.
They're there full time.
Okay.
Did you already send out the password and login
I
information?
did.
You did? Okay.
On Thursday or Friday.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
And I can update the letters so we can send them next year's how to be automatic. Because currently, I believe the ones we sent last year have a couple incorrect addresses for other contacts. So that'd be a key piece, I guess, to get, is as you talk to everyone, just ask for a phone number and then mailing address. Because not
Mhm.
everyone has a mailing address in town for the properties for which we have conservation easements. And yeah. And then, I have going to start there. Anyone have anything new to bring up? Any public comment? I have one item to add, which is we have a new wetlands application, which is not the one for Bert prepped us last month. He hasn't, so last month Bert Phillips came on behalf of the Jackson Water Precinct, prepping us for them applying for a wetlands permit, and they have not yet. However, we do have one from last week for Jackson Island Road, which seems like a typical, I just flipped through it, but typical culvert and some fill in the wetlands area, what I presume is a new lot. So we should go out and look at that and then sign off on it.
Is that for the wetlands subcommittee?
Yes, it can be, yes. So if everyone wants to look at it, have any comments which they want to make to the wetlands subcommittee, otherwise I can try to get Brian and Mark to go, or whoever, Brian, Mark, and I, the subcommittee will go up and look at it. And then either Brian or I will sign it and pass it on to the town clerk.
Is Maple Bush the one that's like the nice paved one that kind of shoots out to the right?
I don't know.
That Maple Bush.
I don't know Jackson Islands that well.
I've only been up there like
Yeah.
once.
Yeah, Maple Bush is one of the first turnoffs as you go up the road.
Okay.
It's very close by the turn. There are like 1, 2, 3 homes off of Maple Bush.
Yeah, so it's an access driveway to a single-family site. There's going to be 611 square feet, approximately. Very specific number, an approximation, but fill and a culvert for the road going into that site. Yeah, it's very covered.
I'm sorry, can you tell me where it is?
It's off Jackson Islands, but
It's the first right off the Jackson Island Road.
Okay.
so I imagine it would seem straightforward to look at the map. Oh, yeah, look at that. That helps.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, there's more. Feel free to take a look at this.
Two workspace.
we looked at the house.
All right. If there was no comments on the wetlands permit application, will the three of us will look at it?
I make a motion to support the wetlands committee to sign when they determine that it's fine.
The second.
All in favor? Thank you. And I think
Drop
that's it.
rest.
Do you want to end the meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Thank you. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.